Good day and welcome to Westchester Talk Radio. I'm John Marino and we are joined here by Fred Schwam. Fred Schwam is the Vice President, Board of Directors of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon and a member of the Executive Committee. Fred is going to be the Master of Ceremonies for the event on June 8th, and also the co-chairperson of the event is Laura Lavan. Laura Lavan is a member of the Executive Committee of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon as well. Laura and Fred, we thank you both for being part of Westchester Talk Radio. How are you both?
Great, John. Thank you for having us with you.
Very well, thank you.
Laura, we thank you. Give us a little background about the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. Laura, I'm going to ask you to do that first.
Well, the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon has been around quite a number of years. It's had a long history of supporting children and families in Mount Vernon. And this is a new thing, having a gala that's virtual to celebrate as well as support the important efforts going on at the club to enrich children's lives and create opportunity.
How did you get involved?
I have a history of caring about social issues. I don't live in the Mount Vernon community, but I have worked supporting education and children issues. I worked at a children's museum prior to having my own family and moving to Westchester. I helped create the Westchester Children's Museum at Wright Playland. I've done community service in a number of different organizations, and I wanted to reach out to a community that I thought didn't have as much flexibility with people who can have time to help, and I wanted to help.
How long have you been part of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon?
I've been a part of the Boys and Girls of Mount Vernon Club for probably 3 going on 4 years, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. Now, you are the co-chairperson for the event. Who is the other co-chair?
The other co-chair is Joe Simone of Simone Development, and
That's Bronx-based, right? Based in the Bronx, Simone.
Correct, and he is, his father is being honored as a key honoree this year. His dad passed last year, and he was so instrumental to Joe's business and the family business, and Joe is an important part of the Boys and Girls Club family. He served on the board for many years, and we're very pleased to be able to help elevate his dad's memory at this event.
Fred Schwam, how did you get involved with the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon?
Well, for 30 years, I was the owner and CEO of American Christmas, which is a commercial Christmas decorating company. And we had been in the Bronx for many, many years. And then in 2010, I moved the business to Mount Vernon. And once we moved to Mount Vernon, we got very, very involved in the community. And one of the ways we got involved was by donating decorations annually to a bunch of the local nonprofit organizations, the Boys and Girls Club being one of them. And after donating decor to the club for a few years, they invited me to be the honoree at the 2013 Gala. And in planning for the Gala, I visited the club and got to know Mel Campos and Lowe's Moore and learned about all the good work happening at the club. And immediately after the Gala, I was invited to join the board, and I've been involved ever since. So it's about 7 years now for me.
And now you are the Master of Ceremonies for the big gala event, the annual gala for the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. What will you look to do as the Master of Ceremonies, knowing that you are steering the ship and everyone goes as you go that night?
Yeah, well, this will be my first venture into being the Master of Ceremonies at any type of event. So I will do my best, but honestly, our partners at Hospitality Resource Group have coordinated this effort, and I think they've made it pretty simple for me to guide everyone through the night. We have an incredible list of honorees, and I'm sure it will all go very smoothly. My role is just to keep it moving forward.
Hospitality Resource Group, guy named Robert Sanders is heavily involved with them and with this event on June 8th. Again, by the way, that's 6 p.m. that evening, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about Robert Sanders, if you would, just a bit, Fred.
Yeah, so several years ago, I actually read an article in the Westchester County Business Journal about his company, Hospitality Resource Group. And
Based in Rye Brook? Rye
um,
Brook
I,
based?
I'm not actually sure where they're based, to be
White
honest. But
Plains.
White
yeah,
Plains, okay.
White Plains. So at that point, we had been running our own events to the best of our ability, but we made the decision to hire Robert and his firm. And we've been working with him ever since. They do a wonderful job coordinating our annual gala, as well as 2 golf events that we run each year. And they also are involved in our marketing and our public relations efforts. And of course, this year, we pivoted to the virtual gala. So there's been, a lot of extra work and kind of new experience in planning for June 8th.
Now, you have a variety of awards to give out on June 8th, again at 6 p.m., the virtual event for the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon, the annual gala. Laura Lavan, you are the co-chairperson, and you also are an executive committee member, and you know very well, you talked about it, alluded to it a moment ago, about the Lifetime Achievement Award given out to the father of the co-chairperson that you co-chair with, and that is Joe Simone. The honoree is Pat Simone, the founder of Simone Development Companies in the Bronx. Tell us a bit about Pat Simone, his work, his life, and how he got to be an honoree receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Well, Simone Development is a company that I understand was of the next generation of business ventures of the family. They started out in business doing some real estate work in the Hunts Point area and continued with their real estate development and has grown into a phenomenal organization that spans a lot of Westchester and some other areas. And in fact, my co-chair, Joe Simone, his children are now the next generation working within the company. So and they also served, his 2 daughters are serving on the committee with a number of other fine folks, trying to elevate people's knowledge of the club and support of the club, both financially and effort and volunteerism in corporate largest. So we're very fortunate to have the whole Simone family, as well as the committee members working on this event.
Robert Weiss wins the Leadership Award. Robert Weiss, actually, is the president and CEO of the RPW Group in Rye Brook, next to White Plains. We talked about White Plains and Rye Brook a moment ago with the Hospitality Resource Group. Again, Hospitality Resource based in White Plains, right next to Rye Brook. But Robert Weiss, Leadership Award, the president and CEO, RPW Group in Rye Brook. Now, Fred Schwam, since you will be the master of ceremonies that night, you'll have the opportunity to award Robert Weiss the Leadership Award. Give us a sample of what you might do when you call Robert up for his award.
Well, RPW is very, very prominent in Westchester County, especially. My understanding is that RPW owns over 3 million square feet of real estate and is the largest owner of Class A office space in Westchester County. And I know he has a wonderful reputation, as does his entire firm. And I learned recently that his very first commercial real estate purchase was actually a building in Mount Vernon. So in many ways, he got his start in our community.
What do you look for when you give out a leadership award?
Well, every year when we put together the gala, we consider people who have been friends to the club, who are prominent in the community. And let's be blunt, we want to find people who are going to be very supportive in our fundraising efforts, because the gala ultimately is providing us with significant operating funds and revenue so that we can continue to enhance our programs and do everything we possibly can for the benefit of the kids in the Mount Vernon community.
Now, Laura Lavan, other awards to be given out that night, got a couple of others, and one of them involves a lady by the name of April Horton. Tell us about that award and tell us about her. She gets the Corporate Citizen Award. How does one earn that? You don't give these awards out, you have to earn them.
Correct. Well, again, to reference our board of directors, which we're very proud to have a great group of folks, that it's a very hands-on board. One of our board members is Dr. Nicole Hollingsworth, and she had recommended April Horton as our honoree as a corporate citizen from Nicole's past experience at Montefiore, and she's at Albert Einstein. So through their relationship of working, we got introduced as an organization to April, and April was introduced to us. April is a Verizon employee. She has a background. She's from the Bronx. She's from, Mount Vernon borders, parts of the Bronx. So she's familiar with the general sense of the community we're from, the people we're serving. She's from an organization that's creating opportunity in terms of Wi-Fi, broadband, multiple services from Verizon that are impactful to everybody's community, and more so now that we're all virtual. There's going to be a lot of people in the stands, so to speak, trying to connect through their Verizon broadband. So we're just happy to welcome more people into the community. They say it takes a village. In the case of the Boys and Girls Club, it's more than the village. It's the whole community. It's Westchester. It's New York. It's people who have no connection to Mount Vernon but want to see good things happen there. So we're very happy to have April as part of it.
And April Horton is External and Government Affairs Director at Verizon. Again, she wins the Corporate Citizenship Award. Now, Fred Schwam, the alumni honoree, is going to be Jack McArdle, Vice President of the Arthur J. Gallagher Company, based in White Plains. Tell us about Jack. He's a board member too, I think, right?
Yeah, Jack is a board member, and he's been a board member, I think it's for 18 years now, and he actually is a past president of the Boys and Girls Club. He's a terrific guy. He's a friend, and he's been, passionate about his involvement with the club for many, many years. There's a core group of board members who have been around for a long time, Jack being one of them, and their dedication to the club is incredible. So he's a terrific honoree, and we're very pleased, that he is the alumni recipient this year.
Now, Laura Lavan, we have the presentation of the Youth of the Year Award. Could you give us a sneak preview as to who that might be?
Well, it's a young man who's from the club, who's grown up in the club, has had the benefit of great mentorship within the leadership of the staff. I know he has a special relationship with Lois Moore, who's recently retired from the Boys and Girls Club in Mount Vernon, but also with Mel Campos and with some of the other board members. He's a young man who is very energized by community service. He is a young man who's very interested in the arts and performance, and he's a student, and it's really important just to be a student and put your work forward these days in school, in Mount Vernon and everywhere. But we're very proud of this gentleman, and I don't know if I'm really allowed to say who he is, so I'll defer to Fred on that one.
Fred, can she say it?
I think it's okay. His name has been publicized already. So yeah, his name is Jaden DeVaughn. He's a 16-year-old high school student. And
At what school? Mount Vernon High School?
I'm not exactly sure. But I could say that since I've been going to the club since 2013, he's always there. I mean, he's a fixture there, and is a very, very popular kid there, and very respectful, and
he's lived his life there if he's 16 and you know him all these years.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just a great example of why we do what we do at the club and the success that we're having. And he will, as Youth of the Year, go on to compete in a New York State competition amongst all of the Boys and Girls Clubs. And I know he will represent us well. And it also is interesting to add that he is now a repeat winner. He was the Youth of the Year 2 years ago as well. So it's something that's important to him, and it's a goal that he has worked towards. And, we're all very proud of Jaden.
And that is Javen, J-A-H, the J-A-Y. V-A-N, Devon, correct?
Jaden with a G.
J-A-Y, spell that. You spell it.
Jhaydan.
J-H-A-Y, okay, and you
Yeah.
got the rest there. Okay,
Yeah.
yep, there, the beginning of the name there, it's spelled different than it's pronounced, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go. And congratulations to Mr. Devon, a repeat winner. He did it 2 years ago as well. That's quite a resume he's built so far.
Absolutely. He has a bright future for sure.
No doubt about that. Now, Fred, the history of the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon began a century ago or so. So many prominent people have passed through the club. For example, NBA greats like the Williams brothers, Gus and Ray Williams. Gus is a member of the Westchester Sports Hall of Fame. The McRae brothers, who I believe are in the hall too, Scooter and Rodney McRae. Roy Smith, member of the great late 70s basketball teams at Mount Vernon, and went on to be a pitcher for the Twins, and also I believe it was the Pirates for a year or so at the end of his career. And someone else who passed through the club, major benefactor of the club, one of the best known, most famous actors of all time, young man by the name of Denzel Washington. Tell us about him.
Sure. Well, we're very, very, very proud that Denzel is a Mount Vernon native and an alumnus of the Mount Vernon Boys and Girls Club. And he's been a great friend to the club over the years. He doesn't live in the area, so we don't see him often, but he continues to be a great supporter of ours. And whenever he has a movie premiere or a Broadway show, he's sure to provide tickets for our kids to, go down and meet with him and see him perform.
Mm-hmm. Laura Lavan, how does one get involved with the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon annual gala on Monday, June 8th of 2020 at 6 p.m.? What do you do to be part of the event, since it's going to be a virtual event and it's not hundreds of people gathered together shoulder to shoulder this year? So how do we gather together for that? We have to gather together online, I guess.
Correct. And we are fortunate that the club has devoted some energy to working on our website, which is BGC, M as in Mary, V as in Victor, NY.org. So that's where people can collect information regarding the club and our programs and our staff, and see some pictures about what happens at the club. There at the website as well is a link that will give people information on how to connect to the virtual gala, to perhaps decide to financially support, or just connect to understand about the club and maybe figure out ways they might want to engage in the future. We're at a very dynamic time in society right now with the COVID virus, with some social unrest, and people are looking to make a difference. And truly the club makes a difference. The logo and part of the Boys and Girls Club is helping create great futures. And what this gala intends to do is help raise the funds that support the organization to run with our annual our annual budget. But it really ultimately provides academic support, nutritional support, safe haven, opportunity, great adult role models. And there's so many different ways that this club supports the community and the children growing up within it, that we're just happy that the people who are being honored, the people who are part of the committee, as well as the people who will be virtually attending, which holla, you don't have to worry about fitting into a dress. You don't have to worry about what you're wearing. You can be cozy. You don't have to worry about parking your car.
Make sure you look right up here, and then when the camera cuts off, you can wear whatever you want, right?
Right. So it's going to be from the comfort of anybody's home or their back porch or their front stoop or wherever they would like. They can log on and
They could be swimming in the Hudson River, right, with their phone, the camera on, and join like that.
As long as there's Wi-Fi, they should be able to connect, and we'd be very happy to have you join us. We have a great number of people already connecting, but part of having this gala is sharing information that people just get to know the organization. And then the important part is for us is raising very needed funds that are truly important and do make a difference, quite frankly, in the lives of families that need our support.
Yeah,
Now
that's
you
very
see Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, that's very well said, Laura. And I would just like to add that, in this time of COVID-19, we're very, very sensitive to the fact that, people are dealing with unique challenges and, hopefully, most importantly, everyone is safe and healthy. But there's never been a more important time than now for us to be supporting the children in the Mount Vernon community and the children who are members at our club. Because the challenges that we all face are magnified in many ways in the Mount Vernon community, and the kids need us now more than they ever have before. So, we're doing everything we can at the club to continue our programming and to be there for them. And the support that we're asking for now is critical, to give us the ability to continue to do that for them.
Fred Schwam, Laura Lavan, Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, both members of the executive committee, and Laura is the co-chair of the upcoming event on June 8th, the annual Gala, done virtually this year. And Fred, you are the master of ceremonies that night, also vice president of the board of directors as well. Laura, you made reference a moment ago to the logo. Behind me here, you see that logo. Tell us about that. Speak to that.
Well, I always think of the logo as I'm an artist, so I'm a very visual
Did you
person.
design this logo?
No, that's Boys and Girls Club of America's logo, and then each organization identifies itself beneath. But what I love about it is that it's hands coming together, and so it references child mentor, it's partnership companies and the organization, it's volunteers and the organization. I just feel like it just represents how when people come together, good things happen.
Now, Fred, the night of the event, again on June 8th at 6 p.m., you are the master of ceremonies. What will occur during the event? Will we have an auction? Will we have the opportunity to make contributions? How will that work?
Sure. Well, all throughout the evening, as we have various speakers and presentations to our honorees, there will be a number on the screen where anyone has the ability to text a donation. And there is a segment that we're calling Fund a Need that will give everyone the opportunity to donate anywhere from $100 to $10,000. And we'll explain what all of those various levels will help us, in support of our kids. So I think it'll be an interesting night. It'll be a fun event. It'll last just about an hour. So we're not asking too much of a commitment from our audience. And it is our hope that we have the potential for a huge audience because, anyone can log in and see what the club is all about.
Who might some of those guest speakers be that night? Do you have a finalized list, or who has committed already that you know about?
Yeah, well, certainly Laura and I, and Mel Campos is the chief professional officer of the club. Lowe's Moore, who after 27 years of complete devotion to the Boys and Girls Club, just recently announced his retirement, but he'll be joining us.
I was going to ask you about Lowe's. You beat me to the punch on that. I know Lowe's for a long time. I know his devotion to the club. He told me all about what he does at the club 27 years ago when he first started, and he kind of prodded me. He said, I know you're into helping kids and midnight basketball and things like that, and keep pushing that midnight basketball, he told me 27 years ago, and that's what Lowe's is all about. Member of the Westchester Sports Hall of Fame. Also, his wife, Patrice Wallace Moore, longtime girls basketball coach at Mount Vernon. I believe Lowe's is an ordained minister now, too. A life like Lowe's Moore, former NBA star with the Nets, played college basketball, I believe, at West Virginia back in the 70s also, too. What a life. What can you say about Lowe's Moore? Nobody more devoted or dedicated than him.
Yeah, truly a legendary Mount Vernon figure and a beloved figure in the community, and certainly loved by all of us at the club. And, he's been an incredible role model for thousands of kids over the years. And, we were sad to see him retire and very happy for him. And, we're fortunate that he will remain involved in the club in a consulting capacity as a volunteer. He'll participate in all of our events, so he will very much remain a significant part of our family.
I have to say I had the honor to be the inductee, the master of ceremonies, doing the inducting. Now, the inductor, the inducting the inductee, master of ceremonies, I think it was in 2011, a few years back, when Lowe's Moore was inducted into the Westchester County Sports Hall of Fame in White Plains. Great honor for me to have the opportunity to induct Moore. They call me a pseudo-member of the Westchester Sports Hall of Fame, a pseudo-inductee I'm called, since I've hosted it and emceed it for a long time too. So, people say, well, you're an inductee too. So, but that night, and that was kind of like done on the side, that night I was the inductor inducting Lowe's a few years back. And I can't think of a guy who deserves it more than Lowe's Moore. I remember his days too, not too long ago, when he assisted Patrice as an assistant coach for the Mount Vernon the girls basketball team. Of course, the legendary Bobby Cimino is the boys coach at Mount Vernon for so many years, won so many local and state championships. And Patrice too, what she's done at Mount Vernon. I remember when Lowe's assisted her for a few years, and there was no doubt who ran that ship, and that was Patrice Wallace Moore.
Absolutely. And Patrice, of course, has also been a wonderful friend to the club. And we're also proud that, the Mount Vernon basketball tradition is obviously incredible. And most, if not all, of the boys and young men who have had success in that program came through the club at one point or another and are, alumni of the club.
Now, Laura, you talked about getting involved, how one can get involved the night of the gala. Fred, you did as well, too. For anyone who'd like to find out more about the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, what should they do? Website, phone number, how can it be done?
Well, I would, again, defer to the website, bgcmv for Mount Vernon, ny.org. And it will bring you to the gala. And then within that, there is a phone number for HRG, Hospitality Resource Group. Tricia McTiernan is the contact there, and she can take and help you with your possible participation.
How about for people who maybe they wake up one morning on August 16th and say, I want to donate to the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, and they've seen what we're doing here, for example, or found out about the club in other ways. How can they go ahead, let's say, anytime during the year and make a financial contribution or even get involved too?
Well, again, Boys and Girls Club Mount Vernon, NY, the website has an area that's for donations. The phone number for the club is there as well. If there's any questions, the staff is willing to answer. I would say that that's really the best resource.
Fred, yeah, go ahead, Fred.
We also encourage anyone who's interested to come and visit the club. Of course, we can't do that today, but as soon as it is allowed, we're more than happy to welcome people to the club and give them a tour, because that's a tremendous opportunity to get a good sense for what we're all about and to see the kids and to really gain an appreciation for the incredible work that happens there and the way we're literally changing these kids' lives.
Now, we've talked about the Hospitality Resource Group. Both of you together, tell us about some of the sponsors for that night who have helped put this together. Go ahead, Laura. Tell us about some of the sponsors for that night.
Some of them are new to the club because of our honorees. So our honorees reached out to the people they know and their associates to tell them about the club and ask for support of the club. So behind you, they're listed. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't list each one for you. But then there's also our board itself. Many of them are business owners, entrepreneurial, some larger companies, some generational companies, Parago Gas. We have Joe Montano on our board. He was a past honoree at a gala. He got to know the club and was very excited to be asked to serve. And he's been dynamic and helpful in extending his associates' knowledge of the club. And it seems like a lot of people get to know the club through these special events. and through the people that they know. So it's like you tell a friend and they tell a friend and so on and so on. So for the betterment of the gala and the
Fred, can you
organization.
add a little bit more about the sponsors for that night?
Yeah, so I just pulled up the list so that
And
so
by the way, it's on the website too, right? All
yeah,
the sponsors with the press release.
yes,
Yeah.
certainly they're listed on the website, but I can just tell you quickly.
Yeah.
We have Simone Metro Properties, RPW Group, Verizon, the Capelli Organization, Montefiore, Paraco, Sterling National Bank, First Bank of Greenwich, Witham, Ferreri Associates, the Bonnie and Mitchell Rudin Foundation. There are others, but those are the lead sponsors for the event, and we're obviously very appreciative of everyone who contributes in any way to help support us.
I thought of this as we are talking here, and you run down that sponsors list, and you see not only people from Mount Vernon, but from around the tri-state area taking part and contributing financially. You have people from White Plains, companies from Rye Brook, from Greenwich also too, and I think that really speaks to what the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon is all about, Laura. I think you can add more to that.
Well, I'm very happy for our organization because, it's not an inexpensive thing to run an organization of our size. We serve a lot of children. We have thousands of kids come through during the summer. We have thousands of kids all through the year. We have Monday through Friday. We serve about 130 kids a day in a variety of ways, in a variety of ages. We actually are doing our planning to hopefully someday expand and serve the teenage population in a more significant way than we can do right now. So all the funds that are raised for these galas are so significant to making sure that we do the best for the community that we're in.
Fred, has it been more difficult to provide the services of the club during this pandemic?
Oh, there's no question, and it's been a huge challenge for us as a board. It's been a huge challenge for Mel Campos, who runs the club, and he's done a wonderful job. But we had to make the decision to close the club on March 13th. And then about 10 days later, we were providing online programming for all of our kids. But as good a job as we're doing, I think, and as the staff is doing, providing that online programming, it's certainly not the same as being in person, right? So the staff has done an incredible job, and they're all devoted to provide the best possible programming that they can. But we're obviously anxious, just like everyone is, to get things back to normal and welcome the kids back into the club. And we're hoping that will happen soon, but it still remains to be seen when in fact we'll be able to do it.
Now, Laura, getting things back to normal and providing those services the way the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon can, of course, as Fred talks about how difficult it has been as of late during the pandemic and the economic downturn. To get there, what you need is help. You need support. You need people to take part in this gala and to do things, to add things of value throughout the year. Tell us one more time the website to go to for the gala, for the event, and again, all kinds of contact information, anything you have, anything you can think of for the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon that would be handy to someone year-round.
Well, the website is BGC, M as in Mary, V as in Victor, NY.org. And that stands for Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, New York. In terms of what people will find, they'll find opportunity of things we've done in the past, and we're always welcome to consider things we haven't done. So we have a community dinner that's underwritten by restaurants and corporations with corporate volunteers. We have a holiday gift giveaway, which also includes pajamas and things that people don't always think about. We have a food pantry that we have supported some nonprofits, but also some private corporate that actually try to do it anonymously because, it's hard to help everybody, but they want to help where help is needed. We have volunteers who help with the Youth of the Year's work on their presentation skills and the speeches they write. So we have mentors that are helping with writing. We have people helping in the education room. So There are individuals, there are companies, there's done-in-a-day projects that people can do. There's so many different levels of participation, and then they can be the very important hands-off but financial contributions that make grease the wheels that keep the machine running. So it really does take all types, and everybody is welcome to the table.
As we move towards the end of our conversation now with Fred Schwam and Laura Lavan from the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. Laura, co-chair of the Gala event, the annual Gala, the fundraiser, Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. This year it's going to be a virtual event. She is the co-chair and a member of the executive committee, and the vice president of the board of directors and executive committee member is Fred Schwam. Fred, again, is going to be the master of ceremonies that night. Fred, before we wrap up here, as we finalize what we are doing here, give us maybe what your opening will be on Monday night, June 8th.
Well, I think honestly, it's just about showing gratitude for our children and the families in Mount Vernon and our board of directors, and certainly thanking Laura Lavan and Joe Simone for co-chairing the event, and for all of our partners to help make this happen, and of course to the sponsors and hopefully everyone tuning in. In many cases, they have already contributed to us, and hopefully throughout the evening, they will help us, achieve our fundraising goals, because this is all about maintaining and enhancing our ability to provide great programming for the kids.
Fred Schwam, Laura Lavan, Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. First of all, I want to say thank you for all you have done, all you do, and all we know you will continue to do for the Boys and Girls Club. Laura, we thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And Fred, we thank you.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. And thanks to Westchester Talk Radio for giving us the opportunity to promote the club. We appreciate it.
We appreciate you for being part of what we do at Westchester Talk Radio. Glad we could work together with the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon and try to do what we can as we try to do whatever and anything we possibly can to make it through this pandemic and the economic downturn for anybody and everybody, and especially for groups and organizations like the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. The upcoming Gala, the annual Gala, it's virtual this year. It is going to be on Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m. The master of ceremonies, the gentleman you see here in the blue shirt, Fred Schwam, family company, American Christmas for so many years, helped set the holiday tone throughout the area for us for decades. Fred, we want to thank you for that too.
Thank you, John.
All right. And now you're not with the company anymore. It gives you more time to work with the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, no doubt.
That's correct. And I am spending more time now than ever before.
Fred Schwam from the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon, the Vice President, Board of Directors, Executive Committee member, and the co-chair of the event on June 8th, Laura Lavan, also a member of the Executive Committee. Again, we thank you both, and best of luck on June 8th. We know you're going to have fun virtually that night, and who knows, maybe this might lead to some more virtual events. Also, too, before we go, Fred, tell us about the other events during the year hosted by the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon.
So we hold two golf events annually, one in June and one in September. Unfortunately, our June event was canceled this year. And
how about some virtual golf, from our living rooms or in our home offices or studios, right? Read an article yesterday about how we can do that.
I also read that article. So, it'll be
in New York. Was it the Post? I think it was. Yeah.
If we could pull something off like that, it would be great. We're hopeful that our September golf outing will still take place.
Yeah, I was trying the directions in my chair yesterday. All right, foot planted. There you go. So.
Well, it's still too early to know if our September outing will take place, but we're certainly hopeful that it will. The annual Gala and the two golf events are our three primary events. And then we're always looking to add other types of fundraising events, throughout the year. But, certainly those three are the big three for us.
Fred Schwam, Laura Lavan from the Boys and Girls Club of Mount Vernon. Virtual Gala, the annual Gala virtual event this year. It's going to be on Monday, June 8th at 6 p.m. Be there or be square, as they say. I'm John Marino. We are Westchester Talk Radio, again produced by Shark Creative. westchestertalkradio.com. Shark, S-H-A-R-C with a C, not a K, creative. We thank you for being part of what we do right here.